Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin. We're here right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching for the first time, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Shooting Up North, Instagram at Alliance PW Network, and feel free to join our Facebook group, the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. So last night was Sacrifice 2023. I was there, and man, oh man, was it great to be back at a live Impact Wrestling event. I absolutely enjoyed myself. It was great seeing the stars of Impact Wrestling in person for the first time in 3 years here in Windsor, Ontario. I had an absolute blast. It was a thrill. Loved being there. The show was fantastic, and yeah, it was just an absolute thrill to be back. And I got to see my first ever Kushida match live, and that, man, life is good, man. Life was good yesterday. Just absolutely love being there. Absolutely love being there. And I get a good story actually. I was online. I got there about 6:30. The doors had already opened. I got about there 6:30, 6:40. The people were already starting to go in because they had the digital media match was scheduled to start at 7:20. So fans were already going in. So I walked to the back of the line, standing on line. A gentleman in front of me turns around and he says, Do you have a podcast? And I'm like, wow, I'm getting recognized, right? I'm getting recognized. And I'm like, yeah, Alliance Pro Wrestling Network, Shooting Up North. He goes, yeah, I know. I saw your podcast on Sheldon Jean. I thought it was very good. I appreciate the support you give Sheldon Jean. I'm like, oh, it's my pleasure. And then I find out that this was Sheldon Jean's brother, Brandon Jean. What are the odds, right? What are the odds of being online at an Impact Wrestling event, standing behind Sheldon Jean's brother? And it's just kind of mind blowing, really, right? And but it was cool. Met him. We and his he was with his buddy Tyler as well, so we all kind of hung together. We sat together in the bleachers for most of the show because the bleachers, I don't know, the bleachers are okay. I actually walking up, I kind of tripped and banged my shin on one of the bleacher steps, which is kind of still bothering me now because the way they had it set up was a little strange. It wasn't a the bleachers wasn't a good setup. But I hung with them for most of the show. I think the last two or three matches, it was crowded, crunched together, and I had to go watch the rest of the show down at the bottom again, standing against the wall. But it was cool hanging out with them, hanging out with Brandon, Jean, and Tyler. Uh, yeah, so I guess I made two new buddies yesterday. So it was cool. But sacrifice was like I said, it was great to be back at a live event. I mean, to see like Kylan King. She's just fantastic. She's a fantastic talent. I'm so happy that Impact Wrestling signed her to a long-term deal. Also, Kenny King. Kenny King is so freaking good. That match against PCO. We're not going to get a full review of the show because I was there live and I'd have to watch the show on YouTube to give a full review. But you want a full review? BQ Impact Lounge will be giving a full review, and he's the man. BQ's the man. So make sure you check out BQ's review. But PCO, the bumps PCO takes is just when Kenny King power bombed him on the corner of the ring apron. My goodness, how does that? I mean, I like I said earlier, I bumped my shin on I bumped my shin on one of the bleacher steps, I'm gonna be limping for about 7 days. This guy gets power bombed on the corner of the ring apron, and he does this spot where he just runs, and I don't know, he lost his mind. Like he lost his mind. He did a backflip through the ropes to the floor, and he gets up and he wins the match, and he walks back like it's nothing. I don't know how the guy does it. The guy, maybe he is a monster. Maybe he's not. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not real. I don't know. Maybe he's a robot. But he's just something else. That was a terrific match. And Kenny King, immensely talented. Lindsay Dorado, man, What another terrific talent. That match against Trey Miguel, I thought was outstanding as well. Impact, I don't know what the status is with MLW, if it's a full-time contract, if it's a short-term deal that Lindsay Dorado has with MLW. He's the current MLW middleweight champion, but Impact Wrestling should see what they could do to bring Lindsay Dorado into Impact Wrestling, because he has the look, he has the talent. It was a great match against Trey Miguel. Trey Miguel kind of stole the win. The win kind of came pretty quickly, but nonetheless, I thought Dorado um, I thought Dorado was fantastic yesterday. It was fantastic. And Impact Wrestling should, without a doubt, they should look into his contract status with MLW. If his contract is coming up soon, or if it's a really short-term deal, or if it's hey, I could opt out whenever I like type of deal. Impact Wrestling should strongly consider bringing in Lindsay Dorado. He's a terrific, terrific talent. I love Bullet Club against TMDK. I thought that was a great match. Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer, the fans were into it. I may have gone a little too long, and all the shenanigans at the end with Bully Ray's bleeding, and then he's hiding the blood from the ref. The ref's knocked down. Um, I don't know. I guess if there was one match I could have done without, I mean, I love Bully Ray. Bully Ray is a great talent. The hockey fight with Darren McCarty was great. The crowd was into it. Um, I don't know. That match was okay. The fans were into it. The fans, personally, me, if they wasn't on the show, I would have been okay. But the fans were really into that one. Time Machine against Frankie Kazarian, Rich Swann, and Steve Macklin. Um, that was a terrific match as well. I'm very happy I got to see my first Kushida match live. Been a fan of Kushida for quite some time, New Japan Pro Wrestling star. And I got to see Yuya Uemura as well. He actually came to the aid of Tommy Dreamer in the Bully Ray match. Been a big fan of his. So it was great to see some New Japan Pro Wrestling stars last night at Sacrifice. That was an absolute thrill for me. I don't know if I would have had Kushida submit Steve Macklin. I know you wanna build Steve Macklin up to be the next guy, and you want him to look strong. But on the flip side, you want to give the illusion that Kushida has a shot at winning the Impact Wrestling Championship at Rebellion. And we're going to talk about Josh Alexander. I know it's be a little late, because most of you all should know by now the new match of Rebellion, Kushida against Steve Macklin. Josh Alexander had surgery yesterday for a tricep tear, and he's on the mend, so he had to relinquish the title. So I don't know. You want to? I would have had Kushida submit like Rich Swann or Kazarian, but not Steve Macklin. Not Steve Macklin. That's what I would have done. But again, they want to put the idea into people's heads that, hey, wait a minute, Kushida has a shot at beating at has a shot at beating Steve Macklin at Rebellion. I mean, because I'm thinking, you think he would have submitted Josh Alexander? I was wondering about that on the drive home. Was he booked to submit Josh Alexander? I I don't think so. I don't think he would have submitted Josh Alexander. I think he would have submitted Rich Swann or Frankie Kazarian, because because Kushida Josh Alexander match is going to happen at Multiverse United. It wasn't going to be a big Rebellion pay-per-view. So I don't think he would have submitted Josh Alexander. But now that Kushida is in the big Rebellion pay-per-view, they want to give they want people to think that maybe Kushida has a shot at winning, but I don't think. I think Steve Macklin's going to win it. Um, but nonetheless, it was great to see Kushida live. I mean, I was a great the Time Machine is great, great. I just had a wonderful time yesterday, guys. I just had a terrific, terrific time yesterday. Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham. That match started a little slow. It's for me. Watch it. Maybe if I watched it over again on YouTube, but it seemed like it started a little slow. They were exchanging holds, and then it really picked up. Mike Bailey reversing the figure four and getting the submission from Jonathan Gresham. Um, Peraza against Giselle Shaw. That was great because we saw the return of Tasha Steelz. Big pop for Tasha Steelz when she came out. So that was great to see Tasha Steelz returning after hiatus from Impact Wrestling. And then we had the pre-show matches: Eddie Edwards against Bhupinder Gujar. I think Gujar. they gave him a lot of offense. They're trying to build up Gujar, but I don't know. Eddie Edwards should have. I think Eddie Edwards should have. It was a good match. I think Eddie Edwards should have had an easier time with Gujar. But nonetheless, it was a great match. Then we had Rosemary defeat Kylan King. Kylan King, terrific talent. So glad that they signed her. So I enjoyed it. I can't wait for the TV tapings. I'm heading to the TV tapings tonight, and I can't wait for that. It's 1:39 now, so I'll get there about 6 o'clock probably. And I'm looking forward to the TV tapings. One match that they didn't show, I don't think they showed it. I think it was a digital media match, and if they did show it, I didn't watch the YouTube, the YouTube feed for Sacrifice, or the replay, I should say. So I'm not sure if they showed it. I believe it's a digital media match. It was Sheldon Jean against El Reverso. This match, I want to talk about this match for a second because this match was outstanding. First of all, Sheldon Jean, terrific talent, was speaking about, was watching the match with his brother. We were talking about it. Sheldon Jean, terrific talent. He's a great heel. Sheldon Jean has it. He has the it factor. And he's going to be a big star. 100%. No doubt. No doubt in my mind. Sheldon Jean, given the opportunity, is going to be a big star. And he's starting to get that opportunity now with Impact Wrestling. But they need to give him a little push because he can be a big star. And his opponent, El Reverso, this guy is absolutely tremendous. He was almost flawless in that match. The match against Sheldon Jean was absolutely fantastic. And I'm not sure if they showed it as part of the pre-show or if it's a digital media match. But if it was part of the pre-show and you did see it, great match. El Reverso put on a terrific show. El Reverso defeated Sheldon Jean. Okay, I gave away the spoiler. Sorry. So El Reverso defeated Sheldon Jean. Don't necessarily know if I would have gone that route with Sheldon Jean signed with Impact Wrestling. Right now, you want to build Sheldon Jean up. But on the flip side of that, you also want to sign El Reverso, because he was over with the crowd last night. He's a hometown guy. He's from Windsor, Ontario, so he's going to be over with the hometown crowd. But he was really over last night, and he did a fantastic job. And Impact Wrestling should definitely consider very strongly signing El Reverso. And they should definitely strongly consider giving Sheldon Jean, who has it, a very strong push. Because he has it. They both have it. El Reverso, if it wasn't on the pre-show, watch for it. It's a digital media match. Make sure you see it when it comes out. It was a tremendous match. But sign El Reverso, push Sheldon Jean. Okay, and we also found out yesterday that another big indie star is coming to Impact Wrestling. Jody Threat heading to Impact Wrestling. This is big. Jody Threat is an indie sensation. She wrestles for numerous indie promotions. I believe in all over the world, in England, in Canada, in the US. Not sure if she's been to Japan, but she's. I first became aware of Jody Threat about 4 or 5 years ago, and you can see she had something very special, and she just got better as she has gotten better and better and better and better. She actually had the AEW dark match against Athena, where the whole thing where they felt Athena got upset with her and got a little stiff with Jody Threat, but nonetheless, Jody Threat now coming to Impact Wrestling. They didn't indicate when she's going to make her debut. They didn't indicate if it's an actual signing. I'm wondering. I hope this is an actual signing. I hope she signed like a 2-3 year deal with Impact Wrestling. I hope it's not a Steph DeLander type thing where she comes in and then Jordan Grace comes out and we get a Jordan Grace showcase match. We might see her again, Jody Threat again in a week or two, and then she disappears. I hope it's not a Steph DeLander type deal, because Steph DeLander got built up. She got a vignette. They did Steph DeLander is coming, and then where's Steph DeLander? She's on Twitter right now saying that she's the next Impact Wrestling Knockout Champion. Maybe she's with Impact Wrestling. I don't know. Maybe there's a visa issue. I don't know. But we haven't seen her since the match with Deonna Purrazzo. But Jody Threat on her way to Impact Wrestling is a big deal. Is a big deal for Impact Wrestling, and it's a great addition to the Knockouts division. And I'm looking forward to her debut. I'm hoping it's tonight. I mean, she is from Toronto, the Toronto area, and I'm hoping that we see her debut tonight at the TV tapings. They tape it for like they pump her up. They promote her, they hype her for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then we get to see her debut, which should be filmed tonight. Hopefully, I would love to see Jody Threat make her debut tonight for Impact Wrestling. But Indie star Jody Threat, tremendous talent. Now a member of the Impact Wrestling roster, and it's something to get very excited about. And as I mentioned, Tasha Steelz returned. Tasha Steelz made her return to Impact Wrestling after taking a brief hiatus. Tasha Steelz returned at Sacrifice. It's great to see Tasha Steelz back. Tasha Steelz, she took the hiatus from Impact Wrestling due to personal reasons from what I've been reading, but it was a very cool return for Tasha Steelz. It was Deonna Purrazzo against Giselle Shaw, of course. Just Deonna Purrazzo makes Shaw tap out. Savannah Evans jumps into the ring, attacks Deonna Purrazzo. Tasha Steelz music hits. She comes to the ring, and we got fooled for a bit. It looked like Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans were going to reunite. Savannah Evans now aligned with Giselle Shaw. We thought Steelz and Evans was going to reunite and attack Deonna Purrazzo, but that wasn't the case. As soon as Savannah Evans thought they were back together and went to attack Purrazzo, Tasha Steelz attacked Savannah Evans, took out Jay Vidal, who tried to get involved, and then knocked Savannah Evans out of the ring. And Tasha Steelz, as she says on her Twitter feed, allow me to reintroduce myself. So the reintroduction of Tasha Steelz, very excited that Tasha Steelz is back. So with Taya Valkyrie gone, Taya Valkyrie pulled into a coffin. With her gone from Impact Wrestling, we got Tasha Steelz back, and now we got Jody Threat. Okay, that's a fair. I think that trade is I think that trade is works out best for Impact Wrestling, huh? I think so. I think so. Now Jody Threat's going to come in and prove herself, and now we have another top star in Tasha Steelz, former Impact Knockouts champion, two-time tag team champion, Knockouts tag team champion. Tasha Steelz is back. So hey, the Ty Valkyrie gone, but we get Tasha Steelz back, and we get Jody Threat. So there you go. So we win that trade, right? We win that trade. Okay, really good to see Tasha Steelz back. She got a nice pop yesterday as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I know everybody knows by now, but I couldn't talk about it yesterday because I was getting ready for the show. I was working. I came home. I had a rush. I had to do a little exercising because I'm getting a little weight there, so I had to go out and get some exercise. So I wasn't able. Too much pizza. I'm eating too much pizza. Too much French fries. I have to cut down on that. But I like pizza. I like pizza. But anyway, so I wasn't able to do the podcast yesterday. But that's what I'm doing now. But as we know, Josh Alexander had surgery yesterday. Torn tricep. He's out indefinitely. He had to relinquish a title. Originally, it was supposed to be part of Sacrifice. Teaming with Frankie Kazarian and Rich Swann against Time Machine. But as we know, Steve Maclin took his spot at Sacrifice. And of course, the Kushida match against Josh Alexander at Multiverse United is, of course, canceled. I don't know if Kushida has another match set up. From what I couldn't find any information on that. But that match is canceled, and now at Rebellion, it's Kushida 1-on-1 against Steve Maclin, and the winner becomes the new Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship, World's Heavyweight Champion. Little tongue twister there. Sorry about that. Throat's a little dry. I was eating some. I made some tofu a little earlier, and I put on this teriyaki sauce that just. And then I looked at the sodium, and the sodium is like it was like 980 milligrams per drop. So I'm a little thirsty, so I'm just gonna drink some water. Give me a second. It's a little too much salt, too much sodium. But anyway, where was this? Oh yeah, so So it's Kushida and Steve Macklin at Rebellion, and BQ Impact Lounge has a great podcast talking about this. But when you see that, you know that there's no way that Kushida's going to win the title. You know it's going to go with Steve Macklin. So we know who the winner. When it was Josh Alexander against Steve Macklin, the thought was, it could be Macklin, but it could be Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander, the longest reigning Impact Wrestling heavyweight champion of all time. Um, he I would say be 50-50 split. People say 50-50 split. 50% of the people for Macklin, 50% of the people would say that Josh Alexander is going to win. But now that's Kushida. Now it's. I think we all know who's going to win, which is why I think Scott D'Amore knows that too, which is why they had Kushida tap Steve Macklin out at Sacrifice last night, just to build him up a little bit, saying, "Oh well, he tapped out. He made Steve Macklin tap out. He could do it again and win the title, but it's not going to happen. Steve Macklin's going to win it." At Rebellion, but I do hope that Josh Alexander has a speedy recovery. Again, he's out indefinitely. There's no timetable for his return. Sorry. There's no timetable for his return, but I do hope he has a speedy recovery. The operation was last night. I'm assuming it was a success because Josh Alexander tweeted out that he was watching Sacrifice, that he had the surgery earlier in the day, and now he's watching Sacrifice. So I'm assuming it was a success. But Josh, get well soon, buddy. And also, bad news. Bad news was it was a bad day injury wise yesterday, actually, for Impact Wrestling. Lots of bad news. Mickie James also suffering a broken rib. She was scheduled to defend the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title against Jordan Grace last night at Sacrifice, but that didn't happen. So Santina Morella has decided that Jordan Grace will get her shot at the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World title at Rebellion against the winner of the new Multiverse United match. It was originally supposed to be Mickie James defending her Knockouts title against Miyu Yamashita, Giselle Shaw, and Deonna Purrazzo. But because she has a broken rib, she can't compete. Masha Slamovich is stepping in. So the winner of that fatal four-way match will go on to face Jordan Grace at Rebellion. Masha Slamovich will go on and face Jordan Grace. It's going to be Slamovich and Purrazzo. Face Jordan Grace at Rebellion for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title. And Morella did say if Mickie James is able to compete, if she's healthy enough to compete by the time Rebellion comes around, then it will be a three-way dance for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Championship. So that's what they're doing with the Knockouts Championship. And Scott D'Amore hitting the Canadian Destroyer last night. My goodness, that surprised me. He got a huge pop from the crowd. The crowd just became unglued. I don't know if if it showed up that way on YouTube or Impact Plus, but the crowd became unglued when he hit that. When he hit that Canadian Destroyer, that was impressive. I was impressed. I just hope that this is all not leading to a Scott D'Amore versus Bully Ray match. I just hope that's not where they're going. You got the Canadian Destroyer in. Okay, okay. Time to move on. Let Bully Ray do something else now. I hope it's not. No, we're gonna get Scott D'Amore against Bully Ray at Rebellion. We're probably going to, but hopefully we won't. Hopefully we won't. Not taking anything away from Scott D'Amore, but the Canadian Destroyer, that you can't top that. You hit the Canadian Destroyer last night. The crowd became unglued. Let's leave on a high note. Let's leave on a high note. And that's it. That is it. I have discussed everything that I want to discuss. I'm getting ready for the TV tapings. Like I said, I can't wait. A few more hours. I'm taking off to those TV tapings, and I'm gonna have another fun time, another blast watching the stars of Impact Wrestling. And again, I hope Jody Threat makes her debut tonight. If she does, man, I'll be back with the spoilers. I'll be back with the spoilers. Okay, so we're gonna leave it at that for now. Anything else breaks? My throat. There's too much sodium, man. Okay, I won't say that again. But It's like why do they need to put 980 milligrams of sodium per not per drop but per teaspoon? I should have checked that before I because I put in a lot more than 1 teaspoon, and I'm paying the price for it now because my throat's dry as a loofah pad. It's as dry as sand right now. But anyway, that's it. Anything else breaks, I'll be back. Make sure you check out pwmania.com. My Bobby Fish interview is on there. Also, head over to pwmania.com. We got our YouTube site now as well. Hit that subscribe button for pwmania.com. PW Mania on YouTube, I should say. New channel, got lots of content coming there in the future. I'm a part of it now too, so you want to see more of me? Go to PW Mania on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, and hit this subscribe button too. 2 subscribe buttons you could hit. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Anything else breaks, I'll be back. But until then, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye bye.